But now, October 25th, they decided to cross their own claim boundaries into Singapore waters and claim this as their waters. So in view of this recent development and their provocative actions, we have decided to gazette and expand our port limits. Let me take you through. This is our agreed boundary with Malaysia in the north. This was the line that they drew as what they claim to be their national boundary. We have now decided to draw our Singapore port limits, which used to be here, westwards into this area, which is our area. So we are expanding our port limits by this shaded area. But unlike the Malaysian adjustments, ours is within our own territorial waters. Yeah. As I said just now, it is normal for countries to adjust port limits, but you must do so within your own boundaries. And this is the case in our case. So the Gazette is out, I think, yeah, and will take immediate effect. It will take immediate effect, yeah. But as I said, we will continue to exercise restraint. Hopefully, good sense will prevail. But if necessary, we have to be firmer. We will. So the best next step, I think, for them, leave our waters. It's as simple as that. We can talk. They talk about asking us for a meeting, which we will follow up. But immediately is leave our waters.
The Malaysians again published a new map with a new port limit. Again, no consultation, no discussion. Claiming even more than what they did in 1979, which no one has even accepted. Claiming waters that Singapore has been patrolling and performing constabulary duties all these years, decades. Now they are sending Malaysian government vessels into the area, inconsistent with innocent passage, conducting unlawful activities, unauthorized activities under international law, refusing to leave. Then suggesting that Singapore vessels leave the area for talks to happen. That's not right. That cannot be right. Even the layman can see that this cannot be right. You made a claim, you send forces in, you ask Singapore to leave as conditions to start talks. How can this be?
On maritime issues surrounding the Johor Bahru Port Limits and Singapore Port Limits, we agreed to establish a working group of senior officials led by, in the case of Singapore, by the Permanent Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Chi Wee Keong, and in our case, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Datuk Sri Muhammad Sharul Ikram Yaakob. This working group is to discuss the legal and operational issues to de-escalate the situation on the ground and provide a basis for further negotiations.
This purported extension goes beyond even Malaysia's own territorial sea claims, according to Malaysia's own 1979 map, which Singapore has consistently rejected. The inescapable conclusion is that the new Johor Bahru Port Limits transgress into what are indisputably Singapore territorial waters. And Singapore has long exercised sovereignty and patrolled these waters without any protests from Malaysia. However, since late November 2018, Malaysian government vessels started intruding into these Singapore territorial waters. We have protested the purported extension and these intrusions. We have also increased our security presence in the area in order to safeguard our waters and sovereignty. This working group will discuss both the legal and operational matters in order to de-escalate the situation in the waters of Tuas. And they are to report to both Minister Saifuddin and me within the next 2 months, where we've been engaging Malaysia in order to find constructive solutions to both maritime and airspace issues. On the 25th of October 2018, Malaysia decided to unilaterally extend the Johor Bahru Port Limits into Singapore's territorial waters off Tuas. This purported extension goes beyond even Malaysia's own territorial sea claims, according to its own 1979 map, which Singapore has consistently rejected. The inescapable conclusion is that the new Johor Bahru Port Limits transgress into what are indisputably Singapore territorial waters. Since then, both sides have been engaged in intensive discussions to de-escalate the situation. We have made reasonable progress so far, and I hope to make some joint announcements with my counterpart, Foreign Minister Saifuddin Abdullah, within the next 1 or 2 weeks. So, akan datang.
We believe these recommendations are measures that will help us to resolve the situation on the ground. And the proposal is to suspend the implementation of our currently overlapping port limits, and that Malaysia and Singapore will therefore revert to the port limits that were in effect prior to the 25th of October 2018 and the 6th of December 2018 respectively.